The Shroud of Turin, an enigma between science and an inexplicable phenomenon. For centuries, the Shroud of Turin, an ancient linen cloth believed to have wrapped the body of Jesus Christ after the crucifixion, has fascinated and divided scientists, historians, and believers. The image imprinted on it, a tortured human body, resembles nothing that can be replicated with known techniques, and scientific investigations have revealed anomalies so profound as to push researchers to formulate theories that transcend conventional physics. One of the most astonishing discoveries concerns the nature of the image impressed on the cloth. It is not a painting, nor a scorch, nor the result of simple contact. Scientific tests have revealed that the shroud was exposed to an intense and sudden energy pulse comparable to a nuclear detonation. Dr. Paolo Di Lazzaro and his team at the ENIA laboratory, scientists without any religious influence, attempted to recreate the image using high-power ultraviolet lasers. They discovered that to even approach reproducing the weak but detailed imprint of the shroud, the linen would have had to be bombarded with 34,000 trillion watts of ultraviolet radiation in a quarter of a billionth of a second. No machine on Earth today can generate such a pulse, let alone in the first century. What makes this discovery even more enigmatic is that this energy did not burn the cloth. It only altered the outermost superficial fibers no more than a few microns deep. This level of precision completely rules out anything like heat, fire, or paint. It seems like a sudden flash, something much more intense but strictly controlled. A Japanese study compared the shroud's image with the nuclear shadows left by the atomic bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The unsettling silhouettes imprinted on the walls when a person's body blocked the flash. The study found surprising similarities in the distribution of light and the contrast of the outline. In both cases, the image is not added material but an absence, a distortion, an effect created by an overwhelming exposure to radiation. Scientists refer to this as an atomic signature. The released energy, equivalent to a nuclear explosion, left a permanent photonegative image on the fabric. Yet there was no explosion zone, destroyed buildings, or radiation sickness, just a linen cloth with an image that should not exist. No one can explain where this energy came from. Some suggest it might have been a unique event that defies every known natural law. What has just been stated represents only a part of the sensational discoveries resulting from the study of the Shroud of Turin. What researchers have found within the very fabric of the shroud challenges everything we know about matter, biology, chemistry, and physics. Spectrometric analysis on the shroud's fibers has revealed an unusual signature consistent with matter composed of strange quarks, specifically a group of 131 atomic mass units that does not correspond to any known compound on Earth. Some scientists believe this indicates an interaction with a state of matter so exotic that it exists briefly only within particle accelerators or in the heart of neutron stars. It is fundamentally something alien. 58 different species of pollen have been identified incorporated into the shroud, many native to Jerusalem and the surrounding regions. Some of these species are extinct or no longer grow in that climate. Others are so fragile that they could not have lasted more than a few decades, yet they are preserved, not fossilized or crushed. It seems that time has stopped in the fabric. High-resolution image analyses conducted in the 1990s revealed subtle circular shapes positioned where the man's eyes would have been. Advanced imaging has suggested that these are Roman leptons, tiny bronze coins minted during the time of Pontius Pilate. One coin even seems to bear part of the distinctive inscription Tiberius Caesar, used between 29 and 32 AD. Although some argue it might be a chromatic distortion, others state that the detail is too precise to be coincidental. Perhaps the most surreal of all these discoveries is what researchers call the transparent body phenomenon. The image on the fabric does not appear as if coming from a solid object. The bloodstains are anatomically perfect, showing arterial flow, venous pathways, and even coagulation stages. However, the body's image passes through the fabric. For example, parts of the image that should have been blocked by contact, such as the sides of the nose or under the arms, still show perfect shading. It seems that the body was not pressed against the fabric, but rather passed through it like light or radiation or something else we cannot define. None of these anomalies, from quark matter to impossible pollen to ancient coins and transparent imaging, make sense on their own, but taken together they form a mosaic of the inexplicable. The Shroud of Turin is not just a religious relic, it is a scientific paradox wrapped in linen. For years, the 1988 radiocarbon dating was cited as definitive proof that the shroud was a medieval fake. In 1988, three separate laboratories performed radiocarbon dating on a fragment of the shroud, estimating a period between 1260 and 1390. This led to the conclusion that it was a medieval fake. However, it was discovered that the tested corner was not part of the original linen. It came from a section that had been skillfully rewoven in the Middle Ages, most likely after the shroud had survived a fire. Microscopic examinations showed different fibers, a mismatched weave, and the presence of cotton, which is absent in the rest of the shroud. In essence, the laboratories dated a repair job and declared the entire object a fraud. Nuclear engineer Robert Rooker hypothesizes that a sudden burst of neutron radiation during the image formation could have altered carbon levels in the fabric, skewing the radiocarbon dating results. Neutron radiation would increase the number of carbon-14 atoms in the linen, making it appear centuries younger. This theory aligns disturbingly well with the 34,000 trillion watt energy explosion detected by researchers. In 2024, a groundbreaking study using wide-angle X-ray diffraction analyzed the molecular structure of the linen fibers themselves, avoiding the patched areas. The results indicate that the shroud's fabric dates back to a period between years 0 and 100 AD, confirming a first-century origin in Jerusalem. This dating has transformed the most famous attempt at debunking into one of the strongest pieces of evidence for the shroud's authenticity. Every time researchers have tried to close the door on this object, another has opened. Each investigation only seems to deepen the mystery, strengthen the evidence, and enlarge the implications. Particle physicists encounter anomalies they cannot explain. Botanists find preserved pollen that should not withstand time. And now nuclear engineers explain why our dating instruments read everything wrong for over 35 years. Faced with all these inexplicable anomalies, scientists propose radical theories where quantum physics meets the science of resurrection. In 1978, John Jackson, one of the leading researchers of the STURP Shroud of Turin research project, examined the shroud's image and hypothesized that the cloth was not simply laid over a body. Jackson argues that during a resurrection event, the body beneath the linen began to dematerialize vertically, emitting an explosion of energy in all directions. As the cloth passed through a disappearing body rising upwards, the image was imprinted onto the fabric in a way that no physical object could achieve. Subsequent research, such as that supporting the theory of quantum DNA resonance, has led to further hypotheses suggesting that very high-frequency gamma rays might have interacted with the DNA within the body's cells during this same energetic event. The shroud would then have captured what is described as a photostatic quantum hologram, a crystallized record of the light field of a body in transformation. If true, the image would not have just been impressed into the fabric, but encoded by the collapse of physical matter transforming into light. The late physicist and artist Isabel Picek described the image as created without distortion, as if gravity had been suspended. She argued that the body inside the shroud did not press against the fabric. Instead, she said something similar to an event horizon, like those around black holes, would have formed. The image would have been left not by contact, but by an interaction between matter and space-time itself. Mass spectrometry readings that detected matter composed of strange quarks, a type of subatomic material that appears only during extreme energetic changes, such as those in particle accelerators or collapsing stars, support the idea of a radical energetic event. When everything discovered is put together, the radiation explosion, the strange subatomic signatures, the transparent image formation, and the bizarre dating inconsistencies, everything begins to point in a radical direction, a physics that we have not yet mapped. Researchers now suggest that the shroud might have captured the exact moment when the laws of physics paused, even if only for a fraction of a second. At that moment, the body under the cloth did not just resurrect, it transformed. Some say it dematerialized, others suggest the body emitted high-frequency gamma radiation as it underwent a state of transition, what one physicist called a quantum phase shift. This change not only illuminated the cloth but encoded it. The image was not painted, pressed, or burned, it was formed by an event, a collision between physical matter and something beyond, like a holographic wave through time itself. Some researchers believe that the body's DNA emitted enough energy to trigger quantum resonance, creating what they describe as an explosion of photonic data. There is a kind of resurrection fingerprint imprinted in the linen by light. This suggests that the shroud may not only be a religious relic, but the first scientific record of a reality-altering event. Science does not lie. It is something that challenges modern physics. It happened. Resurrection, therefore, might not have only been a spiritual event, but a rewriting of space, time, and energy so massive that it left concrete traces.